1L grades, of course, are very important, especially fall semester, but you're applying for a summer associateship before you've gotten back all of your grades from the first year, no?
No, so usually, so OCI, which is on-campus interviews, take place in early August, beginning of the second semester, right? So the timing of it is you go through your first year, you'll get your grades back from first semester sometime around middle of January, possibly early February, right? Presumably just after your spring semester check is cleared, they'll give you your grades, right? And be like, surprise, you're staying with us, I guess. So then you'll go through the spring semester, and you probably won't get your grades until sometime, mid-June, all right? And that's where, yet another thing that you can think about first-year grades being important about is if you want to transfer, right? So the option to transfer is something like, again, having gone to, where I went in terms of Albany, after my first year, I had an opportunity to transfer to NYU, right? Like really do a crazy jump in terms of, the rankings of my law school. I didn't take it. Instead I took the law school that actually gave me money, to stay. But one of the things that, a lot of students that we see a lot of students doing, I'm actually having a conference call with somebody tomorrow from Brooklyn Law School who killed it first semester, is doing really well second semester, wants to transfer to Harvard. We do that all the time. And we see that happening where students are starting out here but ending up here. Not that Brooklyn's not a good school by any stretch, but going to a school like Harvard opens up doors. I mean, it's not fair to say that it's in a different league. It's like literally in a different stratosphere in terms of the options that you'll have coming out of school. And that's presumably why you're going to law school, unless you're like an irrational actor or like a trust fund baby who doesn't care. What you're doing in terms of going to law school is to improve your situation. So a lot of students are using those first year grades in June and July after the first year to transfer to a higher ranked school that offers not just a higher ranking, just don't transfer for the rankings, but transfer for the options that you'll have. Whether you want to ultimately get a Supreme Court clerkship or ultimately you want to teach, there's 3 schools you have to go to in the country, right? Harvard, Stanford, Yale. 50% of the law professors came from those schools. Every other law professor came from everywhere else, right? So that's the timing of the first year and the transfers, and then what'll happen is starting in August, you'll start bidding through your career placement office or the Law Preview Job Network is something that we have as well, where firms will contact you and say, Steve, we'd love to have you sit down with 2 of our associates in the library or at a hotel in Manhattan. Come and spend a half an hour with us and interview with us. And that's based entirely off your first year grades, right? Entirely off your first year grades. They're not looking at anything else. They're not looking at undergraduate transcripts. They don't care what's on your resume. It's based on, 3 things. The top 3 lines of your actually top, 2 out of the 3 lines. They don't care about your name, right? But they care about where you're going to law school and what your class rank and GPA is, right, essentially. So that's, that happens in the fall semester of your second year. And then what you're doing is trying to get a job for the summer after your second year. And usually that process, OCI, results, on-campus interviews results in a callback interview. And by October or November, you've locked that down and, you're sitting pretty with a job to go and work at the following summer, making, at some firms, I don't know, $3,600 a week, which is clearly you're not impressed. Clearly you're a New Yorker. You don't care, right? You're like, $3,600 a week. That's like what I spend.
One month's rent.
Right? No, I mean, like 36, but you can make 30.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, $36,000 over your 10-week summer associate position. That's like, for some people, who don't live in New York City, that's real money, right? So.
Yeah, no, thanks for the breakdown, though. It's good to have a picture of how these things come about. And obviously, there's a certain cachet to the brand name of a particular school that opens doors, as well as just where you fall within the class. Right.
So, I mean, look, honestly, like I said, if I wasn't in the top 10 people of my class, I wasn't going to get the job at the big firm in Manhattan, right? But, if you're in the top 30% at NYU or Columbia, you would have that interview. But like I talked to a kid today who's going to Harvard, and he was like, hey, I want to take law preview because I really want to be. And I was like, well, I mean, like, FYI, if you're, I want to go work at, a large law firm in Manhattan. I'm like, okay, don't kill yourself. Like, not that I don't want to, have you come and take the class. But he's like, well, my bigger goal, and that's where, like, is to finish here so I can, get a, appellate court clerkship that will lead to a higher clerkship, which will eventually, have me leaving private practice for a number of years, but coming back as a corner office partner. Oh, okay. Well, that makes perfect sense, right? Those are the things that those are the brass rings that the top students at the, the higher ranked schools go for. So there's definitely a pedigree. There's definitely a pecking order with all these firms and all the opportunities that come out of the various firms and or the schools that you go to.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.